Howdy, and welcome to the Texas Bucket List, the show dedicated to everything there is to see, do, and experience right here in the Lone Star State. This week, we start things off down in Galveston at a treasure along the Texas Gulf Coast. And while stories of sightings have long been told here, it's the history and ambiance of Hotel Galvez that truly make it worth checking into. But if you happen to meet one Bobby Lee Hilton, you've come across an extra special stop on the Texas Bucket List. Along the rolling waves of the Texas Gulf Coast, sitting on the Galveston seawall, you'll find Hotel Galvez. Named after Bernardo de Galvez, the Spaniard who surveyed the area in 1786, the Galvez is the only historic beachfront hotel on the Texas coast.
I just remember pulling up to this grand hotel.
Christine Hopkins was born on the island, known as BOI in these parts, and she has worked at the hotel since 2008.
It's just a wonderful place to feel like you're going into a bygone era.
Originally opened in 1911, Hotel Galvez still has its turn-of-the-century charm, with a few more modern amenities. Everything is done with elegance, from the well-stocked bar to a brunch that'll beckon your taste buds before you even get your first bite. But there's another staple here that personifies this hotel's exquisite characteristics.
You just come in, well, good to have you back.
Mr. Bobby Lee Hilton.
Have a history of hospitality and a future of distinction.
Mr. Hilton was also born on the island back in 1933, and he got his first job at the hotel back in 1949.
We had to work because, we didn't have all the money in the world. Like one guy said, poor folks was talking about us. We were so poor.
Bobby worked here till 53, but those 4 short years had a major impact on his life.
Oh man, in the 1940s and 1950s, you could make pretty good money out here. I went home with so much money in my pocket one night, my dad had to call the manager out here and find out, what is that boy doing? Was he out there? Yeah, he came to work. I had $90-something in my pocket, and his salary was like $50 a week.
In those days, Galveston was a gathering place for the stars, and Bobby was there for it.
You name them. The Rat Pack, he was through. Dean Martin and all of them, you see all kind of people, all kind of stars. They just piled up here because there was no Las Vegas till the mid-50s. And so, man, the money was here.
Hearing Bobby tell these stories can make the hours fly as fast as the past few decades have for him. Bobby returned to the Galvez in the mid-90s and has been the hotel's ambassador ever since.
He's so charismatic and guests love him.
Oh, hello. Hey, buddy. Hey, Theo.
Doing all right?
Good. How you doing, babe?
Doing wonderful.
So we headed to one of Bobby's favorite parts of the hotel, something he had a lot to do with.
Here's our Hall of History here.
With stories of famed Galveston gangster Sam Maceo, the rebuilding of the hotel by Cynthia and George Mitchell, to how it all got started. You can find a whole lot of history down here.
We had a potato peeling machine.
Big news back then.
An ice maker, dishwasher, ice cream maker, wine cellar, printing press.
But there is one part of the hotel everyone loves to hear about. Well, almost everybody. The hauntings.
We have sightings all over here from the guests and from our staff. We get reports of things out of the ordinary happen. We had people with a cake sitting in the restaurant, big old nice cake with big candles on it. And all of a sudden, everybody would say, look at the candles. It looked like someone was standing over them, blowing them out one at a time.
Oh. Now, a lot of the ghostly energy here is said to be focused in room 501. And for some reason, we couldn't get Bobby to take us up there.
That's the most rented room we got in the hotel.
501?
That's right.
People want to be with the ghost.
Oh, man. You can't get in there. You can't get reservations hardly in there.
Wow.
According to local folklore, her name was Audra. She resided in room 501 as she waited for her fiance to come back from sea. She was told that his ship was lost at sea, and in her grief, she went up to the west turret and hung herself. There have been reports of kind of a feeling of a presence in that room, the smell of flowers in that room. People have seen kind of a woman, and just throughout the hotel, there's interesting stories that guests and staff have experienced and shared with us.
While the hotel seems to be a hotspot for hauntings, the real treasure here is its connection to Texas history and a man named Bobby who makes this hotel well worth a stop on the Texas bucket list.
There might be an odd occurrence that could happen in a room, but it doesn't happen to everyone. And like I said, it's just all of the charm of a historic hotel.
The Galvez was a big hotel that started the city on its move towards greatness, because it was put here for that as a survivor of the great storm. I just think this icon should last for a long, long time to come.